Okay, let's unpack this. You've shared some really intense source material with us. It's about, well, a truly tragic event.
Mhm.
So today we're doing a deep dive into that Air India flight crash near Ahmedabad. The goal is really to zero in on the key information and maybe some surprising details from, the sources you provided.
Right.
Honestly, just reading through them, the seriousness of it all really hits you.
It's incredibly somber, yeah.
Yeah.
And the details you've pulled together, they paint a very stark picture. Very fast. Seems like a certain catastrophic failure based on that timeline.
Absolutely. So let's dive straight into the core facts, just from your sources. This was Air India, Ahmedabad to London.
Right.
The date given is Thursday, June 12th, 2025, in
Okay.
the afternoon.
Huh?
And the plane, a Boeing 787-8.
Yeah, a Dreamliner.
Yeah.
And the sources give a precise takeoff time, 1:38 p.m. local. Just a, standard departure, it seems.
Until it wasn't. And this is where, well, based purely on the material, it just takes a horrifying turn. Minutes after takeoff, the plane plummeted. And the location, not an empty field. Your sources say it crashed directly into the Vijay Medical College hostel mess.
Right into the building.
Think about that detail. Just 5 kilometers from the airport, the sources emphasize that.
And what's just devastating, highlighted right there in your material, is the timing. Over 100 students, it says, were gathered right there for lunch.
Yeah, exactly when the plane hit. You can only imagine. The sources describe this massive explosion, smoke towering, visible for miles. It makes an awful accident even more horrific, doesn't it? Because of where it happened.
The human impact, yeah, it's immense. On the plane, on the ground.
Huh.
The material lists 242 people on board.
And Air India confirmed 241 fatalities from the flight.
That's what the sources state, yeah.
And just 1 survivor from the plane. That detail really stands out in your sources.
It does.
Among those lost, the sources name former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani, which highlights just how many lives were affected.
Yeah, a very prominent figure. Now, if we look at the moments just before the crash, the sources mention the pilots made a Mayday call.
Right after takeoff, it says, which signals a critical emergency, immediately.
Exactly. So early in the flight.
A Mayday call like that, it suggests whatever happened was sudden, really serious. It's the ultimate distress signal.
And here's a really critical detail from your sources, especially for the investigation. After that Mayday, the pilots didn't respond to any more calls from air traffic control.
Silence.
Complete silence, which raises immediate questions, obviously.
Right.
What was happening in the cockpit?
That lack of response?
Yeah.
It's a key piece of the puzzle in your sources, isn't it? Suggests something possibly incapacitating or just a total loss of control very, very quickly.
Right. And speaking of piecing things together, the investigation kicked off fast. The next day, Friday, June 13th, according to the sources.
And they found something vital almost immediately.
The black box, yes. Both the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder. Crucial evidence.
And here's a slightly surprising detail from the sources. Where they found it, not in the main wreckage, apparently.
No, the sources specify it was recovered from the rooftop of the Medical College Hospital building.
On the roof. Huh.
Yeah, separate from the main impact zone. Investigators will be looking very closely at that. It might tell them something about, the breakup sequence or the forces involved.
Your sources also mention the official response, Prime Minister Modi visiting the scene, meeting the injured.
Underscores the national scale of the tragedy, as the material presents it.
So, connecting these points, you go from takeoff at 1:38 p.m. to a Mayday, then silence.
And then impact, just 5 kilometers away.
Yeah.
Right into a populated building at lunchtime.
Yeah.
All within minutes.
It's a horrific sequence of events, just laid out point by point in the sources you shared. The speed, the location, it's incredibly stark.
Absolutely. And what really stands out looking at the material is that combination, the immediate Mayday and then nothing. Just silence. And that uncontrolled descent so close to the airport, the black box, particularly given where they found it, is going to be absolutely key.
No doubt. Well, thank you for pulling these sources together for us. It really let us focus on those critical moments and some, frankly, chilling details.
And maybe a final thought, just drawing from the material itself, that stark contrast,
Yeah.
between that one desperate call, the Mayday, and the absolute silence that followed. It leaves you wondering about those final terrifying moments on board.
It certainly does. Something for all of us to reflect on, using the facts we've uncovered in this deep dive from the material you provided.